Hey, everybody. This is Boat from Societal Deconstruction Podcast coming from Central Florida tonight. How's everybody doing tonight? I have my two guests. I have Shaggy.
Yo, what's up?
He was with us in episode 5. It was 5, right?
I think it was 6.
I
It was 6.
think it was 5. It might have been 6. Oh, okay. He's right. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. Yeah. And we have Black over here. He's new.
Black.
Welcome.
What's going on? Let's do this thing.
Happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
All right. Well, tonight's episode is, we are on episode 9, special edition, suicide. That's what we'll be talking about tonight.
Oh, fun topic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Little dark.
Yeah.
Little dark. And I do apologize that I haven't gotten an episode out for quite some time here. I think it's been like 3 weeks. But I did have a death in the family, so I've been dealing with that. And just happened to be a suicide.
Me and Black are over here on shrooms, so.
Oh, yeah.
This is perfect for us. We're like, all right, let's do it.
They have the chocolate.
Yeah.
The chocolate.
Yeah, we were
chocolate
hanging
shroom bar?
out at the bowling alley. We watched the guy lick his arms, and he was putting the ketchup.
The cook.
Yeah.
The cook. They have somebody cooking at the bowling alley that
cowboy
isn't
hat on.
competent to.
He need to wear a helmet.
He couldn't drive, I'm sure. He's trying to put a spoonful of ketchup into the ketchup container, spoon by spoon.
So we ran away. We came here.
And I was going to take one too, but I figured since I had to do the podcast, I better not. I'm dumb enough without.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't get it done.
I can't think of words as it is. Imagine that. Jeez.
But so what do you want to talk about? You had some questions to ask us earlier. You were asking us if we know anyone that's killed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I
was going to start out with that, but we can.
No. I personally don't know. I don't know anyone that's killed themselves.
Wow.
So you tell me, you know.
I have had 5 family members kill themselves.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why do you think they killed themselves?
Probably because it's related to her.
Probably. Oh.
I got to get out of here. You're going to make me kill myself.
Mm.
No,
Tell you, if I have to go back to work, I'll kill myself. Just joking. You know, we laugh because it's all we can do. That's how I deal with things, is laugh, mostly.
Yeah. It is sad, though, but, I mean, 5, that's crazy.
It is. It's nuts. The first one started out with my great-grandfather, Theodore Crandall. My great-grandma, they were married for like 60-something years or 50-something years, a long time. They were old. And she died in her sleep very peacefully. And then 6 months later, in the middle of winter, he hung himself in the garage. And that was kind of understandable.
That one makes sense.
It did, yeah.
You have nothing to live for.
Exactly. And he wanted to be with her. That's how we all felt. And, and we all dealt with it, and it wasn't so bad.
Oh, she died first?
Yep. And 6 months later, he hung himself.
That's not too sad.
No, I mean,
kind of cute.
It is. I thought so. It was okay. Like, it wasn't like,
damn, he's young and
right.
We should have hugged him more.
Right. It wasn't horrible. That one was the most understandable. And then the second one was my cousin Edmund Burton, because actually I wanted to do this first. I wanted to
kill myself with a name like that.
I wanted to dedicate this podcast to the late Theodore Crandall, Kenneth Conklin, Tamara Burton, Edmund Burton, and John Walters.
That's all their names?
Mm-hmm. John Walters.
Yeah, I got some weird. Tamara Burton.
Tammy. We called her Tammy or Tam.
So
Edmund, we called Eddie.
4 Burtons killed themselves.
2 Burtons.
Mm.
2 Burtons.
They were siblings?
Yes. And then my other cousin, so 2 of her 2 siblings killed themselves, and she's left.
That's kind of interesting. Like, what were they exposed to, you know?
Well, I had, my family comes from a long line of alcohol abuse and addiction and stuff like that. And I think that they had undiagnosed mental issues because back then they didn't treat mental health. They'd stick you in a mental psych ward and do a lobotomy on you and take part of your brain out. Nobody wanted to say they were mentally ill. You don't want to go have your brain taken out of your head. Yeah. That was scary. They were scared to go. People were scared to say they were mentally ill because you'd be ostracized. It had a huge stigma.
The thing is, you're mentally ill and you got proof, you can go do some mentally ill shit and get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could probably murder somebody and then say, "Oh, I was crazy."
Yeah.
Get
Really?
off on
Rob the bank and
Really?
then get away with that shit.
Could you really?
you get off on what's it called?
Insanity. What is
You
that?
got off a reason of insanity.
Yeah.
By reason of insanity.
Oh, so that's why they
That's-
try to Baker Act your ass so you guys don't do nothing crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I'll be wanting.
Because crazy people be doing crazy shit.
That's an excuse.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
trippy.
But people back then, they didn't want to, they didn't want to admit to the doctor and get that put in their file. And then if something happened, they get thrown into the loony bin and literally get a lobotomy is where they take that part of your brain out. It's literally a surgery where they take a piece of your brain out, that infected piece that they think is causing
Yeah,
the
so
mental
really?
illness. Yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
don't
they
want to
try
frightening.
they try to turn you into an alien. That's
What'd you say,
what it
Black?
sounds
Yeah, you don't want to say nothing. That's okay. So it's pros and cons to that. We just learned.
like. Yeah.
Well, I
'Cause
talked
I'm
to
scared. I'm scared to admit that because they can take you out. My biggest fear is like
You're
some
slow. You're a little slow.
Yeah. my biggest
I'm a little
fear
fast.
is like doctors coming in my house and like you're coming with us.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
in the way they can put you in the straitjacket and take you away in the padded car.
I've been Baker acted. That shit is
Yeah.
it's kind of scary to think about. So when people are like, "Oh, are you suicidal?" You're like, "No."
No, you
No.
never admit that you're
No.
suicidal,
But
even
they
if you
make
are.
you suicidal, then you
Yeah.
start being suicidal. Like,
Mhm.
oh shit.
And then they're like, "Oh, we can take him because he said he's suicidal." That's like their loophole. But
I talked to a gentleman that's in one of my Snap groups. He was in a Reddit group, and he told me that his grandmother was one of the last people that ever got a lobotomy, and she got a lobotomy for being bipolar, and that's what I am. So if I was alive back then and admitted that I was mentally ill, I could have literally had a lobotomy for being bipolar. Which isn't, do I come across as like totally insane?
That's why people
Little
scared
bit.
to admit, yeah.
a little. I
Yeah.
mean,
Little, but not like where I should have
A
part of my
little.
brain cut out.
right. You're just not like a freaking boring person.
Right, I've got all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. But yeah,
think it's fun to hang out with crazy people.
if somebody was like if someone was trying to cart you away, I'd be like, "Yo, what the fuck y'all doing?" They're like, "Oh, she's crazy." I'd be like, "Nah, she's just Jen." You know?
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think what they do is just to pigeonhole people into being crazy is totally wrong because people are just not the same. Thank you.
Yeah.
People
No,
are
I
not the
agree.
same. Everybody's different, and the mentally ill people are, on one side, and the whatever normal people. I don't know. Normal's kind of boring to me,
Right.
but not that those people are
Well, I
boring.
think-
But whatever.
I think
But
They're
people
not
aren't.
giving them real help.
People aren't the
Yeah.
same. Why are the mentally ill people mentally ill? Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just different than the other people. It's like giving kids Ritalin and shit. I don't think you should medicate children. Children don't all learn the same way. Children aren't all the same. Why do you medicate the ones that are different? It's fucked up. You ruin their lives. You ruin kids' lives.
What were you
doing
gonna
that
say,
shit.
Black?
Sorry, I'm passionate about that.
What were you gonna say, Black? How do you feel about mental health coming from
I
here?
don't
Talk
know.
closer to the mic, please.
I just feel like they're doing the wrong things for different people. Like, okay, don't put them in prison. Tell them, you know what I'm saying? Okay, if you do this and this is a problem, we gonna get you some real help. You know what I'm saying? They don't give you real help. They just like
They lock you up.
Yeah, they lock you
The
up.
percentage. I would like to know what the percentage of people in prison that are mentally ill is. It's probably 3/4 of them. It's probably super high.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. Like, you tell them you want to kill yourself, and then they take you to a fucking prison, and then you may want to kill yourself even more. Type shit. It's like you should take me to a resort, something like that.
Take me to the Caribbean.
Like, why are you taking me to this fucking place with the shitty food and shitty fucking workers? And
But the people that are mentally ill that don't know how to handle what goes on in their brain, and maybe they're poor and they have nothing to eat and they don't know how to handle it, so they go and steal or something, and they just get thrown into prison for practically the rest of their lives because it just I don't know. I don't think
it's just they're in and out.
Mhm.
And they probably get accustomed to being. I know when I went, you meet people in there that they're in there every week, every month.
You were in there one night.
No, not prison.
Oh, jail.
I'm thinking we're talking about like Baker Act.
Oh,
shit.
when you went to the hospital, were you in the psych ward?
Mm-hmm. For 3 days or whatever.
Mm.
I'm saying those kind of people, they're in and out because they're just so accustomed to, they're homeless, their family's giving up on them.
Well, my friend that I did episode 7 on, my friend G,
Yeah,
he went to the loony bin. We never got a chance to do part 2, of episode 7 because he went back to the loony bin and he's out, but I can't pin him down to do episode or part 2, and I don't know if I don't know, but
I didn't listen to it, but we were talking about
yeah, I mean, I think I just don't think that I don't think they treat it properly. And him and I were talking about too is like you should have from the day you're born, you should have your own little iPad or something with all your medical history on it, your mental, your regular medical, and that should go with you to every appointment, your whole life. And so every doctor knows what you've already had done and it's all organized. Like, why wouldn't they have that organized of all things? They have everything else organized and, computerized.
I think babies should be given an iPad.
Yeah, you should have an iPad strapped to your ankle when you're born. I mean, no, I don't agree with that, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I think it's funny. It's like, here you go, baby.
Here's your iPad. You're a winner. Here's your what do they call it? Your
we gave you this.
What was your blender? Your parting gift. Here's your parting gift when you leave the hospital. Here's your iPad.
Free iPad.
Well, the kids get an iPad when they go to high school.
Yeah, no, I mean, kids got iPads before then, but all that stuff is, I mean, if you don't have insurance and stuff, all that stuff is very unorganized.
And you go from doctor to doctor. Nobody knows what doctor did this.
It's all people that don't give a fuck. From my experiences. Yeah. My experiences. They don't give a fuck about you.
Don't give a fuck about you. Yeah.
They're like, get the fuck out of my face, crazy. But anyway, so we was, I was in that bitch like, oh my God, these people don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to tell them nothing.
Yeah, and then they're like,
you don't care about my life.
Yeah,
good.
They don't.
They're just regular people wanting to get through their workday.
Yeah,
they don't
give
a
check.
Shit. They don't give a shit.
They just
now, if you got an interesting story, all right, now
they'll listen to you. Yeah.
Oh, this is what happened. This is crazy. Your mom did crack. Your granddad did crack. Come on in. Let's talk about it.
Do you have any crack in your family? Because I know that crack. I've studied a lot on crack because I've written some articles and stuff about it. But I know in the 80s and 90s, I did a blog about crack in the 80s and 90s taking over the cities, the inner cities. But just being, I'm not sure. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Florida.
Oh, where in Florida?
Like Central Florida. Like I was born in Leesburg.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, you know how they say black don't crack? Does black crack? Do you have family members that smoke crack?
I don't know if they did or not. They did a good job hiding it.
That's cool. So you don't think you were affected by the crack epidemic?
No, see, I grew up with my mom's side, my dad's side. They did what they did, but
you didn't.
I grew up over here. Yeah.
So you were shielded from anything that might have happened like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'll sell it.
What?
I'll sell it to you.
I don't think I want to buy any.
I'll sell you some crack, but I never I don't know. I ain't never get it.
You've never done it.
PSA, he's just joking, folks.
Y'all don't know me. My name.
I don't know if PSA was the right word.
No, it's all good.
But nah, yeah, I don't know. I never been.
I think I'm a crack baby.
My dad probably did some crack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My mom.
A lot of people did. It was very, very prevalent, and especially like if the economy wasn't good, and it was a way to make a good quick buck. I mean, they made good money.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if my mom smoked crack when I was a baby. When I was like,
you're probably a crack baby.
I'm probably.
Well, like you think about when like the songs the stuff that like Biggie used to sing and stuff like that. It's like he grew up and he was a kid through that and lived in that, and like his relatives dealt that, and
Well, I just don't think it's that. I mean, they paint these pictures of like people coming through with they're pregnant and they spending their last money on crack. Yeah, it probably happens, but it just I think
they made it out to be a little yeah. I mean, they might have made it out to be a little more than it was, but
I don't know, but
he grew up in that. Like his family members did that, and then he ended up doing that. He admitted that he dealt crack. So a lot of his songs were about crack and stuff. And then they get down on people about singing gangster rap and stuff like that. But they wrote what they grew up in. Yeah. Like why is it wrong? Why is it bad? Like I don't know. I like Biggie. I like 90s rap.
I just feel like they're harder on the people that's selling it than they are on the people that's doing it too. Like, why you don't? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, back then too, like, if you got caught,
how the fuck are they getting it?
Back then, if you got caught with crack, you would get like 30 years in prison. If you got caught with coke, you'd get like 2 years. The deficit was like tremendous.
But
And
look, this
Obama
the thing,
changed that
this
in
the thing.
2001.
They're not arresting the crackheads. You know what I'm saying?
They were then. They were. I think they were.
They're not
just
now.
for doing it.
Anyone had it on them, possession.
I'm telling you right now, they don't care about the crackheads. They don't give a fuck about the crackheads. They're out. The crackheads, they ride by the crackheads. You know what I'm saying? They just
ride by the crackheads.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about the crackheads.
Well, we've gotten a little off topic to crack.
Well, sorry.
Black don't crack, or does it?
We'll have a segment 2. Black doesn't.
We can do a whole episode about crack. It's pretty interesting, actually. I mean, geez, it goes back.
Yeah.
Such history. Well, I wrote that blog about it, in the inner cities and the Nicaraguas and how Nicaragua was involved in the CIA and there's a whole thing,
Yeah, we could go
Pretty
for days, but anyways, back to your topics.
Okay, did we even get through the people that committed suicide?
No, so tell me, let's go.
So the first one was my great grandfather Theodore Crandall. The second one was my cousin Edmund Burton. Yeah, that should I say how they did it? I guess I will. My cousin Eddie put himself on the train tracks, and the train hit him out in California. And him and I were really close when we were young, and that one really hit hard. He did that on Easter Sunday. That was 12 years ago. And then the next one was my stepfather of many, many, many years that I was very, very close to. In 2020, Kenneth Conklin, he shot himself. And I think I blocked that out because I didn't know what year that even was, but it was in 2020, the year that COVID hit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that on Mother's Day. So I have all these nice holidays that are reminded by, passing of my family members. And then my aunt's husband, my uncle, John Walters, a couple of months ago, just happened. He shot himself as well, right in the house, right in the bedroom. She was in the adjoining bathroom. Lucky she's still with us. And then just last week was my cousin Tamara Burton.
How old was she?
She was 56, but she didn't seem. She was young. Like she was only a couple years older than me.
Yeah.
And she lived out in Utah, and her and I, we didn't see each other a lot, but we were close. I went out there to visit her a couple times, and we were always close, and we were together. And I just couldn't believe that it happened, and how she hung herself. And I just can't imagine how you could be that depressed to go. And I was depressed a couple years ago, so I get it. But to be that depressed to go and do that, that's so brutal.
Okay, all right. This is my theory. You giving people power is something that's making them like, all right, because nobody naturally just want to go kill themselves. If that was the thing, then everybody just be out here
doing it.
It's not nothing like
every time you felt bad.
I'm poor, I'm gonna kill myself. It's just that's the deep shit about it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so then you got somebody like, well, that's why I was telling you. It's like
blackmailing you or something.
Blackmailing. Somebody got the power, something that's controlling you, whether it's a drug, whether it's information. It's something that you gave that other person the power of, and they see that you're weak in it. And you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like you don't want to put yourself in the position to have to get to that point. So now you're at that point. People, all right, I'm scared. They're more scared of people knowing the truth about them. They're scared of the truth. It's something about that person that they just scared.
The truth will set you free.
Yeah, and they're not free, so they kill themselves. Whether it's a drug, okay, I know you like so that's what we were talking about, the crack. That's why I brought the crack up. Okay, you smoke crack. You don't want nobody to know you smoke crack. And that's your problem. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now if I tell I'm your crack dealer, nobody knows but me.
Right.
So you scared for your kids to find out it's that other person that got the power. I'm gonna go, I got all this information. I got videos of you doing this for your crack. I got videos, I got all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
you kill yourself.
And it's like you
feel like there's no way out.
They can't deal with the fact that person can tell them can tell their loved ones or can put their business out, so they kill themselves. Whether they do it afterwards or not, it's not about like, oh, I don't think people. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people kill themselves for like how you said, your
Depression.
your family member, the wife, the woman died, and then the older person, he killed himself after. That person got so much power over them, you know what I'm saying, that they can't even deal with life without that person. You know, you gave that person so much power that you can't even live. So I might as well kill myself.
Well, they've all got some stories too, like.
But
Just-
you don't want to do that. You don't want to give nobody that much power. You don't want
Right.
to practice that shit.
Right.
So,
But they all have some stories, and they all have like some serious depression. And when I was in my depression a couple of years ago, I never was in depression my whole life until a couple of years ago. I went through like a 2-year depression, and I always thought depression was bullshit. I've always been a get up and go person. I was always like, pull up your bootstraps, get out of bed, get the fuck to work, get up. I always just thought that people were being like, not lazy, but just, woe is me, till I got in my depression. I realized, oh, this is some real shit. I couldn't get out of bed. It sucked. But I would fantasize about jumping off the Sunshine Skyway Bridge over in St. Pete, Tampa area. And I would fantasize about it, and it would make me feel better thinking about doing it. I would never do it because I have 2 children and a mother, and just I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that. Actually, you think about it, but I'd fantasize about it.
Right.
And fantasizing about it made me feel better in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I finally was, diagnosed with my bipolar and stuff, and went on some good medication, and I feel a lot better.
I mean,
these days.
I've been depressed before. I get real down, and I'm like, I just want to kill myself. But then, like the next day, I'll be.
Do you think you could be manic or bipolar?
Maybe.
Because that's manic and depressed. Like it's, you're manic.
It probably has.
And then you're depressed.
It probably has to. It's self-inflicted, though. I don't.
Yeah.
I make myself bipolar, and by the things that I put into my body, but. Some days I'm like, man, life sucks. I don't want to be here. And then I'm getting head the next day, and I'm like, this place is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So.
See, I think it's more cool than not.
I think we should have a suicide thing where men can call the number, and it's just women on the other line waiting to show their movies.
I was gonna say she comes to give him a blowjob to save his life.
That's what strippers are for.
She'll be there in 5 minutes. Ding dong.
You're like, listen, man.
Suicide stripper hotline.
I'm so ready to fucking end it. Oh man.
Oh, riding that train.
Strippers are here for
riding the suicide train high on cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, but I have to laugh about shit because if I started getting
you do the negative spiral.
Your head will play tricks on you. Be like, man, life does suck.
Mm-hmm. And it goes around and around, and you go down.
And then it might not even affect me today, but it might be 2 days from now when I'm not even hanging out with you guys. I'm like,
nah, just don't think about it. Like, if you think you gonna drive a nice car, it's the algorithm. I see myself driving a nice car. You gonna drive a nice car?
You put that positivity into the universe, and for some reason, it picks that up.
Yeah.
If you put the negativity into the universe, it picks that up too.
If you see yourself killing yourself, you're gonna fucking kill yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna think that. I don't.
Right.
I don't think that.
I don't either.
Right.
But I used to when I was depressed and when I was younger and I couldn't control it. And I think it's part of the bipolar. But I would wake up in the morning and my brain would start that negative spiral, and all I would think about was like the negative things, and I'd go down and down and down into this like pit, and I couldn't like get myself out of it. It was terrible. My brain just played tricks on me, and it was exhausting. It was awful. I don't do that anymore.
That's how I get when I'm hungry.
The negative spiral of hunger.
Like, fuck, we're gonna die.
We need 20 packs of ramen.
Yeah, I wake up and I'm like, man.
Do you ever get the negative spiral?
The negative spiral. Shit, I don't know. I don't get that. I think I don't know.
You think positively.
What's the negatives?
My
problems.
When you think negative, and then it just compounds, and then you think of more negative, and it just like it's like a runaway train of negativity.
Black. He doesn't know about mental health, so it's called
right.
Depression.
Black people are not allowed to be depressed.
When you having a bad day,
we're born depressed, motherfucker. The only thing we think about is fucking positive. When we come out the pussy.
Another one of my friends who's black, he always told me that his mom told him if he came home and he was like moping, his mom would tell him, you're black, you're not allowed to be depressed.
Yeah.
Fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's probably a pro. I mean, you got.
I think it is too.
Yeah. We don't think
because you know that you can't wallow in it. Nobody's gonna let you wallow in
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna live forever, motherfucker.
Yep.
So when you never get like have a bad week. You never
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I'm bad.
But you don't wallow in it. You're not like, oh, I'm depressed.
Okay, so our objective
every time I
is-
see D, he make everything a joke though. Like it's
Yeah,
just
he's a
I'm
comedian.
I'm thinking, okay, so all right, so I gotta
We
relate.
laugh because that's all we can do.
Yeah, we trying to find out. We trying to help the people that's killing themselves. So if I can help those people, I don't know if you know. Okay, is this something on the other side that they trying to get to, or I
Right.
don't know what the fuck. Like at the end of the day, we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen to us when we die. So
right.
fuck, I don't want to.
Unless we're doing the spirituality podcast, but that's another podcast.
Do you know what happened when you die?
I might.
Oh, that's.
I might have got a glimpse.
I think that some people that are just so fucking done, they don't.
It's like
they
I'm
done-
done with this part. I want to go to the
Right,
next part.
they're like ready for the next level.
But what
Are
if
you?
that-
But
I think the next level is another life, and
Why
I think
would- why would-
they are ready to go to that next life. They're
Why
done
would-
with this shit.
I used to
and
think
they're-
of weird shit like this. You know the problem if it's something that you hate on this life, you can't do like all right, this is my thing.
Pickles.
Midgets. Okay. All right.
You hate them that much?
I
No.
do- no.
This is the thing. This,
Okay.
this
Love
What
it.
about
I love
retarded ketchup eating cooks?
yeah, shit like that.
Arm lickers,
Yeah, disformed. People
Window
that are
lickers.
disformed, right? So it's
deformed
like
people.
I gotta get over that. So, because if I die, I might come back a disformed person. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I hate on Earth, I might die and become that. If I hate frogs, I might come back a frog.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
I might come back black.
No, you
Get
want to
it?
be black. You ain't gonna be black. You're gonna be more white, motherfucker. More white. But
You know, that's funny because sometimes when I have a bad day, I actually think I'm thankful that I was born in the United States at this time.
Yeah.
That, you know, I could have been born in like Somalia or like Pakistan or like where they take women's genitals out. Or, I mean,
We
you
can
know,
live in
I am lucky.
we can live
I
in
was born-
Ukraine or
yeah. North Korea. I mean, it could really suck.
nah, we actually got it good over here.
We really do. We're very, very blessed. Very
Yeah.
blessed. And I think of that a lot. And I didn't when I was younger. It's taken me time to really think of that.
America might be like retarded.
We got our problems, but and not
Yeah.
compared to a lot of other places for sure.
I think, but what
We
I
got
think
a lot
though,
of shit to do. It's from
I
we
think
got
that
Disney
the
World.
mental health, in conclusion,
Like, but
mental
you gonna
health
kill
is
yourself? You
important.
can go to Disney World. Go to Disney World.
Yeah.
Shit.
Mental health is important. Like we need support systems. We need people that can say, "Hey, it's okay to have these crazy thoughts. We all think
Exactly.
about this kind of
Right.
shit." You know, if we make it taboo, then people they go out lonely.
Well, that's
But-
one thing I'm trying to do with this podcast is let people know that everybody goes through it. Maybe the mentally ill, you know, might not even be the mentally ill. Who fucking knows, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody's going through shit. And people out there that are feeling crappy and having bad days and are depressed, you know, you can get through it. We all do it. And you know, you can try medication or not do medication or, you know that like it's gonna go away at some point.
But don't go sit on a train track.
Exactly. And don't
Because
We
then
just
you
want
then
y'all
you're
to
gonna
know-
because that's so final. Then you're gone. You're done.
It affects the living
impossible
more than
to
them.
be a perfection, a perfect American person. You're not gonna be that. It's
Nothing's
made
ever
up.
perfect.
You're
Yeah.
you're yourself, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
You know.
When I go out, I want everybody to know, hey, if I'm an asshole, then I went out an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to change me. I'm an asshole. I was born an asshole.
I'm gonna die an
Motherfucking
asshole.
But
I
no,
can't- yeah. Go ahead. What's your-
no, just special shout out to all the people out there that did, that did go through with it. I mean, it really sucks because we wish you were here. We wish you were able to like listen and chime in on this conversation. and all that
Absolutely.
stuff,
I mean,
so.
I wrote a poem when I was on Easter weekend when I was thinking about my cousin Eddie. I wrote a poem called Suicidal Musings, and I read it to one of my friends, and he was going through a bad depression. He had just gotten divorced and stuff and was really going through it. And he had been contemplating suicide a couple months prior. And he told me that poem would have made him that poem would have made him think twice about committing suicide.
Yeah, well, I
which
think
is crazy. He said I should send it into this like the suicide hotline people.
Yeah.
I want to read it. Do you guys care if I read
I
it
mean,
real quick?
No, go ahead and read it
Let me see. if
because
I
you
can-
know it at 30 minutes.
What?
No, you can record for 30 minutes max. So stop and then do a new one.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a quick break here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're back. Societal Deconstruction Podcast, episode 9, special edition suicide. Shaggy and Black have to take off, but they were here for the first half of our episode. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you being here.
Fun. It was a good time.
Makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
And we made suicide maybe not so horrible.
Right. No, I feel great right now. I feel like going and being alive.
Good. yeah. Nobody's gonna
I feel like living life.
Hopefully no one will do any suicide.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Right?
We'll see you around and look forward to hearing the full podcast.
I really appreciate you. My guests make the podcast. You guys make it, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Thank you so much.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.
All right. Cool.
But yeah, I'll see you. All right.
All right. Love you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I love those Cheez-Its, so I don't feel like dealing with them.
You don't want to deal with the Cheez-Its. All right. Well, I got some Cheez-Its out of it. All right. Well, just boat here. I don't usually do these by myself, but I think I can get through the rest of it. I had a few things I wanted to talk about. I did want to read my poem that I wrote. This was kind of weird. Easter weekend this past year was the weekend that my cousin Eddie committed suicide, but that was 12 years ago. For some reason, this Easter weekend, that's all I could think about. It was driving me nuts. I needed to get the article. I needed to know how he did it. And, it was driving me crazy. And my stepdad, Kenneth, those two were really driving me crazy. And that's all I thought about all weekend. And I wrote that poem and I called it Suicide Weekend. It was just, I was so fixated on it. I'm not usually like that. I'm usually a pretty positive person. So it was just kind of weird. And I wrote this poem and it was kind of cathartic, made me feel a little bit better. So, I want to just pull that up real quick. Give me just a minute, if you don't mind. Here we go. I called it Suicidal Musings. Oh, I should have had it up. I'm sorry, guys. Where are you? Come on, poem. Oh, geez. Really? All right, I'm going to take a quick break here. Or not. Let me see. I could find it. I could talk through it. Oh, this is stupid. Let's see. All right, I'm going to stop this real quick. Hey guys, I'm back. I was able to find the poem. Now let's see if I can pull it up. No, now it's giving me hassle. Jesus. Oh, sorry. All right, it's called Suicidal Musings, and it's dedicated to the late Theodore Crandall, Kenneth Conklin, Edmund Burton, Tamara Burton, and John Walters. And I wrote this Easter weekend of this year, 2023. Why do they keep committing suicide? They didn't want to be here anymore? Sometimes life can be a rough ride. Their suicides have shaken me to the core. What goes through their mind? The pain is a giant black wall. Sanity was too far to find. I wish one of them would have made the call. They think about their family? Was there time for regret? Multiple suicides are uncanny. Death leaves the living in emotional debt. Suicide is the theme of the day. Jump off a bridge or blow off your head. I'm going to pray it doesn't go that way. Chances are someone is going to be dead. My best friend and I made a suicide pact. She's 5 years older than me. Time is ticking, that's a fact. Maybe we'll just go on a killing spree. I'm sure that death will continue. Death is life, life is death. Suicide pacts may hold up too. I want to be happy until my last breath. So yeah, that was I wrote that Easter weekend, and that helped me deal with this, the deaths that I had been thinking about. And then my cousin Tam, she did it May 4th. So it wasn't far off that, and I feel like this just disturbing to say the least. And I've been writing these poems a lot. I've got quite a few of them in the in the pipeline here, and I won't bore you guys with more of them, but I'm going to put them on my blog. So if you guys are interested in reading them, I'm going to put a blog up probably tomorrow or the day after. It'll be blog number 2, and I'll have some poetry in it. Poetry by boat. So anyway, I just, the way that I wrote that, and that I just talked about somebody else being dead, and it just gives me the creeps. Anyway, I don't know. So something else I want to talk about was just some famous people. There's been a lot of famous people that have killed themselves. Um, we have Anthony Bourdain. He was a very popular chef. Robin Williams seems like he was a happy comedian, but not so much. Kate Spade, she was a designer. Of course, Kurt Cobain. Some people say that it wasn't a suicide, but I guess we'll never know. Bobby McFarland, he sang "Don't Worry, Be Happy." I guess that wasn't the case. And Margot Hemingway, and I believe she was a daughter of Ernest Hemingway. I meant to look that up, but I'm pretty sure. And then just recently, Naomi Judd, and back in the day, Dana Plato. She was in, I believe it was Different Strokes. She was the teenage girl. And then there was Hunter S. Thompson. He was an author and a journalist, and he started gonzo journalism, which was a type of journalism where you would write from your own point of view, with just kind of a sarcastic tone. I believe something like that. So Hunter S. Thompson was friends with some famous people, and Johnny Depp was one of them. So when he died, Johnny Depp had his ashes fired from a cannon. I mean, whoa, that's cool. I thought that was neat. So talk about going out with a bang, huh? Now, when my dad passed away, I held on to his ashes for about 10 years. I kept him in my closet, and I just liked having him in there. And then finally, I took my boat down to the Keys, the Florida Keys, and I sprinkled him over a beautiful reef. And I felt real good about that because he was the first one to ever take me snorkeling, and we just had a bond with the water. And I thought that he really would have dug that. So that's what I did there. And let's see, two famous people that killed themselves. And you wonder, these famous people, they got everything. You think they have everything. They've got money, they've got houses and cars, and they put their kids in the best schools and eat the best food and go to just unparalleled lifestyle. And that they actually kill themselves. That depression is that bad that you have all that and you're still going to kill yourself. I can't wrap my brain around it. But Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. Chris Cornell was the singer of Soundgarden back in the 90s, and Audio Slave, and I believe he was in Hungry. I'm going Hungry. Who was the band that who was the band that did that? The band that sang I'm Going Hungry. Temple of the Dog. I believe he was in that. And Chester Bennington was in Linkin Park. He was the screamer guy of Linkin Park. And they became really good friends. They did music together and stuff like that. Well, Chris Cornell committed suicide first. He committed suicide on July 20th. No. Wait a minute. Oh, I wrote this down too. Chris Cornell passed on May 17th of 2017. I believe he hung himself. And then Chester Bennington also committed suicide on July 20th, which was Chris Cornell's birthday in 2017, so like 3 months after, which is pretty crazy. They were really good friends. Chris Cornell had asked Chester to be his godfather to his son. But that just proves that, mental health really doesn't give a shit. It can just plague anybody. But I guess Bennington, he's the one with Linkin Park. He suffered from alcoholism and addiction. Um, he had sexual abuse as a child from the age of 7 to 13, and the addiction problems stemmed from that. And he had been sober for 6 months, but they found traces of alcohol in his body at the time of death. So he must have had a relapse after being sober for 6 months. But he had a relapse after Chris died, and he couldn't handle it. That's so sad. Now Cornell was sober since 2003, but he had had a shoulder injury, and he was prescribed Ativan and became hooked on Ativan, which is a benzo. And that's crazy because I'm prescribed Ativan for my anxiety. I don't take it very often. I've kind of learned how to get my anxiety under control, unless it's really bad. But I don't take it. Just makes me kind of numb. Now, after Cornell died, Bennington said of Cornell, and Cornell had this amazing, amazing voice. You guys, I'm sure everyone knows what he sings, what he's saying, and he's one of the greatest voices of my generation. So Bennington said of Cornell, "Your voice was joy and pain, anger and forgiveness, love and heartache, all wrapped into one." I thought that was poignant. So that's quite the story. I can't believe that Chester did that on Cornell's birthday. What the hell? I mean, Jesus. And their wives were friends, so like both their wives had to go through that, and that's just awful. Oh, anyway, another famous person that killed himself, but it was also under suspicion. I think they weren't sure. Was Ernest Hemingway. He had a house in Ketchum, Idaho, and I believe it was in the early '60s. I think it was '61 that they think he shot himself, but I guess they were out. Him and his wife were there alone, and there was conjecture that maybe she shot him or he accidentally shot himself while cleaning his gun. But I don't think that's the case. He was in a couple of wars. He was in military. I would think that he would know enough about guns not to kill himself or accidentally shoot himself cleaning his gun. But you never know. But he was a very interesting character, Ernest Hemingway. I want to do a podcast that maybe not the whole podcast about him, but I want to talk about him in one of them because he is one cool cat. And then in a different type of suicide, the Japanese, the kamikaze pilots in the wars, the world wars, that you just ram themselves right into somebody, and that was that. They felt like they died in honor, and they they went along with it. I would have never done that. I would have told the army to go scratch. I'm not going to do that. So I was talking with these guys earlier. It's like I watched a lot of World War II documentaries and stuff like that. And most people that went to those wars were just people like us, just sitting at home, eating dinner, doing regular stuff, going to work. And they had to go off completely to the other side of the world and fight like that and die. So many of them died, and what they did was so brave because I would have ran to Mexico or Canada. There's no way. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me, but I don't. I could not have done what those people did. It's unbelievably amazing. Now in World War II, I don't know if World War One. I'm not that familiar with World War One as I am with World War II, but the Japanese, if they lost a battle or lost an island or whatever, um, they committed seppuku and harikiri, which is harikiri is the act of cutting the belly, and seppuku is something. It's like the whole process. But the Japanese leaders would go. The one I watched was about. I said it earlier. It's not Iwo Jima. It is one of the Japanese islands, Okinawa. Okinawa. Boy, that was an interesting, really interesting documentary that I watched. But the Japanese leaders went to the very top of the mountain after they lost and cut their bellies out right there, and that was it. That was it, and that was not honorable because they didn't win. That's so sad. So sad. It's so final. And then I just wanted to touch on, of course, the most famous suicide spot in the world, I guess, is the Golden Gate Bridge. There's been 1,600 known suicides. And then there's unknown ones that, were never reported or found. And then there's, probably ones that people lived through, maybe. I know I went on the website. There's a website for the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. That's over in St. Pete. That's the one I fantasized about jumping off of. It's a huge span bridge. It's really pretty. But I was reading on there, they have a website, and a lot of it's about the suicides that have been done there. And they say when you hit the water, you're going like 80 miles an hour. So it's like being in a car accident. When you hit the water, your ribs will come up like out of your skin, and your organs will come up through your throat, and then they don't all die. So people are like floating in the water like that, and maybe they get rescued or maybe they die. But I think the people, somebody told me once that I tried to find it on the website, but I couldn't, that all the people that have jumped off the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and lived have regretted jumping. So does that mean that everybody who commits suicide would regret it if they didn't, if they, if they fucked it up and didn't kill themselves? Would they regret it? Do they have time to regret it? Is there enough time? Like, all I can think about is my cousin. I've just had this in my head since last week. It's all I can think about is, what she did, and visually, I just think about it, and I just wonder, do you die right away? Do you hang there for a couple minutes? I mean, it's horrible. That's just horrible, and I don't understand why somebody would choose that method. Of all the methods, I would get, I don't know, a giant dose of heroin or fentanyl or something like that and just shoot it into my vein and hopefully just pass out completely in a slumber. Or maybe put the car exhaust into my car and sit in the garage, and I don't know. I couldn't jump off the bridge now after knowing all that. And I could never blow my head off. I would not have the balls. I could never pull the trigger. Never. Never in a million years. I just don't know how. Oh, it just makes me so sad that the people were that sad that they did that. And I feel like mental health is definitely something that needs a lot of discussion and a lot of change. And you got to get rid of the stigma. First of all, people are so judgy. People got to stop being judgy. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody lives life like sheep, and does everything that everybody tells them to do, and eats at the same time every day, sleeps at the same time every day. Now, I stay up for 2 days and I usually sleep for 1. And that's how I like it. I don't do what everybody else does. That's how I live my life. I'm just not nonconformist. I've never liked to be told what to do. And now that I'm a grown up and a grown ass woman and I can do what I want, I do. Do what I want, when I want, how I want. And that's how I want you guys to do it too. Don't be sheep. And I'm sure you're not if you're listening to this anyway. Well, I guess that's about it. And I would just like to ask you guys to please, if you like our show, let us know by giving us a follow and leaving us a rating on our Spotify show page or on our website, which is www.societaldeconstruction.com. And you can also turn on new episode notifications so you won't miss an episode, or set up auto download to get the episodes. So we thank you so much for listening. I love our listeners so, so much. And our guests, you guys really make the show. Our next episode is going to be the Human Podcast show. I'll be speaking with Becca Human from the Human Podcast. She'll be the guest on my show tomorrow. So that one will be coming out quickly as well. So we shouldn't have such gaps between the shows. This was had a weird couple weeks. But I should have one out every 2 weeks from here on out. And again, I thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.